Hello, hello, this is Jack down in Samut, or should I say Bangkok. They're pretty close to one another. Anyway, we're getting to the point now where I have the applause back on the bench, not the applause, the Tenton guitar back on the bench. This is an STG100NT model with the straight brake. The original brake was on an angle. I think the original repairman stuck two very long screws in it like that. Engineering 101 will tell you that just simply won't work, and the screw holes will kind of waddle out after a while, and just bend the screws or just snap it back off. And that's exactly what happened, but this time the brake was straight and it was very shredded and prickled the wood, so it wasn't a nice clean brake in any shape, way, or form. So the best thing I can do is take both sides and start taking the wood out of there that was shattered. Much like you would with a leg, you take all the shattered parts of the bone and you get rid of them, and then you only leave the clean breaks. And that's primarily what I did on both ends. Then I glued it together, used a rubber mallet, tapped it back in there as tight as it would go, and glued it, and used surgical tubing to kind of hold it in place. Because there's not much, when it's a straight brake like that, there's not much that you can make that's going to hold it on exactly correct. But if you know what you're doing, there are some really quick fixes that you can use. The purpose of this was just getting it on straight so that I can actually work with it. It's very strong now, but not strong enough to take the back pressure of strings on the top of the guitar, pulling the whole neck this way. Okay. Now, there are different methods to doing it. Everybody has their own methods to doing it. Some are the same, some are a little bit different. How I'm going to do it is to cut an angle here that represents the angle of the neck on the top and the bottom, so that the top part of it is straight along with the neck. So the first thing I do is I adjust the neck, the truss rod, and make sure this neck is 100% even going across. I have a special tool that does that, and I can check to see the neck is even. Right now it's even. So what you basically do is, once you have it even, you can take a nice straight ruler, and you can see the angle coming down from here. You see this is straight, and that's what we want. We want a piece of wood that's going to fit in here with the angle and still go straight. This way, when you stick clamps on, going about 3 or 4 across, the pressure isn't knocking this head off. It's holding everything with even force, so the force is dissipated correctly. And here you have to kind of do the opposite. The wood comes down thinner here and builds up until it builds up even. So, as an example, this piece of wood in here will have to kind of have a wedge going across here, backing this. So when I put the clamp on the top and the bottom, it's even as it is with here and here. There's a board coming in the back and on the bottom. So to give you an idea, if we move this board along with the angle, allow it to shape the angle there, and we bring our ruler straight, we see what happens here. It's following that line I drew. Okay, so we can cut that out. I have a saw machine that will keep that same angle all the way through. So that'll end up being flat, right? So when I put this on here, we'll see that this will end up being flat with this. The only thing we have to make sure is the board or the spacers are even going across. So when I put the pressure on them, there's equal pressure going all the way across. And the same holds for the bottom, except it goes in the opposite way. Okay, but the angle will be exactly the same, so you can actually use this as the template for the angle. The next thing I do is, no matter what I use, I make sure that on both sides I put some caulking, some nice thick caulking. Okay. I buy these a few sheets at a time, and I use them like candy for everything. As you can see here, I use them for all my stands and supports and braces, so I don't damage anything. And then sometimes I use other materials. It just depends on what kind of bracing I'm doing. But anyway, after that's done and everything's cut out, I believe I said this before, I created a template already. So on the floor, hold on. And we'll cut a piece of wood, and on the wood we'll put the caulking. And over here is going to be right around where the truss rod will be. And I don't want to end up making new holes or anything else like that, so I'll go about this far because the crack is here. And same with on the other side. You see there's a crack right in the middle. And I'll come down to the truss rod, and all this will be routed out nice and even. Just before you get to the fretboard, there'll be enough room that I don't touch the fretboard at all. Then we turn this around and do this side the same way. This is where they had the screws going in before to hold the neck on. So then I'll glue the blocks in on both sides, and being that I have that even support that I just showed you how to do, and I have the caulking, I'll just put down all the grips like that and leave it on its side like that and let it dry in there. When it's done, I'll come back and use some file rasp, and I'll shape out all the neck, get rid of all that wood and shape down all that neck the way it is now. I checked the wood, what kind of wood it was, and I reordered. I didn't have the same kind of neck wood that was in stock that size, so I ordered a small piece from a local dealer that will fit in here nice and well. When these two ends are dried, I'll come back and route out this centerpiece, but not go down to the truss rod itself. I'll just go down far enough, and then I'll put another piece of wood in here, glue that, rasp that out, and then the next part would be blending all this in, so the wood from the top part and this part will blend nicely. The problem that I'm going to run into is, because this is kind of a budget repair, if you will, this part with the logo on is obviously laminated, and the lamination got weak from breaking 2 times. So I'm going to have to find a solution to this where it doesn't show up so badly. It's going to show up, you know, because this isn't a high-end fix. It's budgeted, you know. I can't put more time than needed into it, or I won't make any money. I'll end up losing money. So what I'll have to do is, you know, find the best of both worlds. So, you know, you don't visually see it so badly, and it plays good. That's what we're concerned about, that the guitar plays very well. Okay, when it gets ready to put together, and we'll see you again. Right now it's in queue.